Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have completed week 17 of my project life, and this is the week right after week in the life. So I was kind of like photoed out, so I didn't take a ton of pictures during the week, but then over the weekend we went to San Francisco, so fortunately I had a lot of photos from then. I am going through the cards that are in the Written in the Stars kit, the documenter kit from Studio Calico. Just thinking about the photos that I've printed and the colors within them, and which ones are gonna go well with what I've got. And Maggie, she's back. Alright, so this card, the April Stories card, is from the Ali Edwards April release. It's a digital release, and she has journaling cards and like chipboard pieces, but it's all digital. There's no physical product and stuff like that. So this is one of the 4x6 cards, and I'm using the Mega Date stamp to put my dates for the week on the bottom. I almost ran out of room. I always run out of room. One of these days I'll figure it out. Alright, so now I am going to embellish this card with some of the pieces from the Written in the Stars kit. And I think this was an extra purchase during the sale of the kits, these puffy stickers. And I love puffy stickers, and they were small, so I thought they would go well with the Project Life cards. These vellum stars were also in the kit, and I'm going to figure out how I want to place these on this card. It needs a little something. It needs, I don't know, something. And so I'm not a huge florals person, but these are pretty abstract, and if I cut the paper down enough, then you can't really tell. It's just like kind of abstract shapes and stuff. I really liked this kit actually, and it went well with what we did this weekend because we did some artsy stuff. We went to the symphony, which I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, it was a really neat and unique kit from Studio Calico, so I really enjoyed using this. This little button is also from the kit. And to match the bottom, I'm cutting another piece of that pattern. I'm going to put it there. Almost in the exact spot that I had it before, but close enough. Alright, and I'm just being careful to put the adhesive only on the part of the vellum that's going to be covered by something else, because you can see it, the adhesive, through the vellum. Okay, so that's done. And Maggie planted herself in the upper left hand corner of the screen there, and she was just watching me. She's so hilarious. Anyway, okay, so I'm going through and trying to find cards for these other photos that are going to go in the 3x4 slots. And that one there is of Maggie, and we were sitting on the couch, and she literally like wedged herself in this like 6 or 7 inch space between us and stayed there for a long time, like happy and purring. She's crazy. And then the other photo, I don't know if you can make it out, it's popcorn. We had popcorn for dinner, and that's one of the awesome things about being an adult is you can have popcorn for dinner. It was great. Okay, so now I am going through the Written in the Stars scrapbook kit because I need to make a journaling card that I can write on. The ones that I had selected didn't seem to have a lot of space for writing, so I'm going to make my own. I've noticed that there's a trend in the Studio Calico 3x4 cards that there is not a lot of space for journaling on a lot of the cards. So, I don't know. I've noticed that in the last couple months, 5-6 months. But it's fine. I don't mind making my own. I really like these little labels on the 12x12 sheets, and I've already used one in a 12x12 layout, so I think I'm going to be using a lot of these. And it says status report, and I just put it on a pattern, a 3x4 card with a light pattern, so I could write on it. and you can still read it. So what I'm doing here is I wanted to put directly on the photo at the top letters that said helipad, because we were looking at a shot of the helipad, which I don't get to see very often because usually I'm inside. But I chose these letters, and this is from the Oh My Heart, I think it's Oh My Heart collection. And I was trying to do my little trick with the cellophane bag, but the letters were really small and they kept moving, so I was like, fine, I'll just put them on there all haphazard and make it look, messy, which is fine. And then as I'm putting them on, I'm like, this looks pretty whimsical. Helipads are kind of serious, but whatever. I stuck with it. If I had to do it again, I'd probably choose a different alpha, but word to the wise, think about your alpha and the theme that you're trying to convey when you pick your alpha. Okay, so I've chosen the other chipboard piece from the Week in the Life kit to go on the back of the one that I had from last week, which is the week that was Week in the Life. And so that completes that transparency card. And I'm just writing that one of the best things about being an adult is having popcorn for dinner. And that's certainly true. And I'm adding this camera embellishment. And then there's a puffy sticker of sunglasses, or eyeglasses, I guess. And there's eyeglasses on that little thing that said status report, so I just covered it up with the puffy sticker for some dimension. And I put it on Pop Dots. Just writing about what we're doing for the weekend and what's coming up after the weekend. Going to San Diego by way of San Francisco, which is awesome. Love to travel. Okay, bye, Maggie. All right. Now, I don't know the name of this alpha stamp set that I'm going to use. It's from Studio Calico, and it came with one of the recent purchases. So, like, I'm going to say April or March. Anyway, it's the right size for Project Life, and I'm using the ink that came in the Documenter kit, called Yes Peas is the color, Yes Peas, and stamping crazy on the top of that card because Maggie is crazy like her mom's. And that black thing that I keep scrubbing the stamp on, that's a Stampin' Up! Stamp cleaner, and you spritz a little of this like cleaning solution on one side, and then you kind of wash it with that, and then you dry it on the other side. Keeps your stamps clean, and I don't like keeping my stamps messy because then if I use a lighter color, it can contaminate it and whatever. So I usually clean my stamps. And then I'm using the alphas that came in the Documenter kit to just put cat at the bottom. Crazy cat. Okay, so I think at this point I'm thinking that I need to use some labels, and I'm looking for some labels, and I couldn't find any. So I have these label dies that I cut using some of the paper from this grapple kit. And so I did that off camera. And I'll use these labels throughout the spread to unify the whole thing. And I loved that the paper had some different colors in it and like ombre effects on the kind of purplish blue. And I just added that dreamy part because the Civic Center Plaza in San Francisco is really dreamy. It's beautiful. Probably the most beautiful Civic Hall I've ever seen. So, and that's right where Symphony Hall is and the Opera House and all that stuff. So if you ever have a chance to go to San Francisco, I would definitely make that a stop, even if you're not going to go to the symphony or, you know, the opera or whatever, because it's just really pretty. Okay, so this is the other side, and I have an insert that I'll get to, but I started with this, and basically the insert covers the symphony, and then we went to a Giants game, and so on the way back from the Giants game, Tracy and I and our friends took a pedicab ride from AT&T Park down to Pier 5, and it was a long walk, so we took a pedicab, and so I snapped a photo of them, and I snapped a photo of the Bay Bridge, which was cool, and then some photos of the drinks and appetizers that we had at this awesome restaurant called Crudo. And it was hopping, man. We were lucky to get a reservation, so I felt like, I know something about San Francisco. I love that town. Just talking about the pedicab ride here. I asked the guy that was driving us, like, how many calories he had to eat and every day, and he said, like, 7,000 calories. And I was like, oh my God, you're spending all of your money in food. And he's like, yeah, pretty much. But it's crazy. And they had amazing legs, both of them. So if you want awesome legs, drive a pedicab. I'm using that same alphabet to stamp I love this city on this card here. This is like the perfect size letters for Project Life. So I think I'm going to be using these a lot. And I don't clean these stamps on that Stampin' Up! Scrubber thing, because if I just stamp on a piece of scrap paper, they come off. It comes clean. So I don't clean all of them that way. Just certain inks stick to the acrylic, so I clean it with that stamp cleaner. Okay, so that's the picture of the Port of San Francisco, and then I'm going to be talking about our amazing food. And then the picture on the bottom right is the lobby of the hotel we stayed at called the Palace. Amazing, beautiful, such awesome stuff in the city. Okay, so now I am moving on to that last card there and trying to figure out, I want to put weekend there, but that little arrow that said weekend was too small. So this is an Oh My Heart stamp with a paper pad, and there's a weekend stamp set that's, or stamp on there, so I'm going to use that. But the stamp is new, and so sometimes when you have new stamps, there's like a residue from the manufacturing process on the stamp that doesn't allow the ink to grab the stamp very well, and so the stamped image comes out kind of splotchy. So when that happens, I clean it with that little white eraser. It's like an art eraser. I rub the stamp with that, and then it picks up the ink beautifully. So if you have new stamps and you're not happy with the quality of the image that you first stamp with, try that trick. So this week was a little photo heavy, and I think I'm still coming off my week in the life word overload. I got some memories down. I definitely could have written a ton more, but I'm happy with it. There's a lot of different ways to tell the same story, and sometimes it's more photo heavy and sometimes it's more word heavy, and it's all good. Adds variety. Okay, so that's that page, and I'm moving those around and moving on to the insert. Now this insert is Becky Higgins' Design W that I have cut off the outside parts. So there are two 4x6s on the top and bottom, and then a 4x6 in the middle row in the center, and flanked by 3x4 cards. So I trimmed the right side of that, because whenever I put an insert into my Project Life, I want to make sure that the insert pages are smaller than the 12x12 pages, because that is kind of a natural way to let people know that this is all happening within the same week. So I always try to do that when I'm doing inserts. That way you don't have to think too hard about what you're looking at. So I'm using some of these labels again, and some of the puffy stickers. I'll go back and add some more embellishments at the end. And here's one of those kind of artsy cards that I really enjoy, and another puffy sticker, just talking about the symphony. Great performance. All right, and then this paper that is going to be the background for our tickets, that's from the scrapbook kit. And it's similar to the journaling card, and I thought it was almost too similar, so I made sure to choose a part that had different colors in it. So that's why I grabbed the part with the orange and the darker purple on the side there. Now I'm moving on to the other side, and I couldn't find both of our tickets to the game. I found one of them, so I just put that in there. And this is another piece of paper from the scrapbook kit. And I was going to spell out giants, but there's only one letter of like most letters on the sticker sheet, which is kind of annoying, but because then I already used the T in cat, so I couldn't do that. So I figured out something else. So I'm bringing in some more of this paper that I did on the title card to sort of unify this piece with the rest of with that other page. And sometimes on these puffy stickers, I have to add additional adhesive. They're not super sticky, and that's fine, whatever. But just a word to the wise. Again, using these labels throughout the entire spread, including the inserts, to provide some unity. And then I just looking for another 3x4 card that I want to put on there. Thought about that one, don't like it, but I like that one. It was just a little too bold with that bold yellow, so I picked a paler color. Also, whenever I have inserts, I use these Avery index tabs as another indicator that these are inside the two main 12x12 pages. And the stamp set that I'm using to label them, I think, is from the March Studio Calico Documenter Kit. So I'm just putting that on there. And then my camera battery died. Right? Like now. Yep, that's when it happened. Okay, so then I charged it a little bit and I put this on. Okay, so that's that insert. And then I have another insert, and this was originally an 8.5 by 11 page protector that I used my fuse tool to make the right size for the playbill, and then I trimmed the top off. And I'm putting another index tab on that. They say all of them are really good phrases for traveling. Stay curious, here and there, always exploring, and remember this. So those are the inserts. And here's the whole thing together. And so now I brought both pages back together so that I can do my final embellishments and keep a unified theme throughout. So I like these emojis, and I'll use them on the silly pictures and stuff like that, and using more of these puffy stickers, the hearts especially. Little heart eyes for I love the city. And that says love this, and it goes right under the Bay Bridge label. And then this is the chipboard that came with the Documenter kit, and this one says a one enchanted evening, and it was a great performance. Another little star there. And then I'm going to put some more of the vellum stars behind these tickets, again, to kind of unify it to the opposite page there. I didn't use any more vellum hearts, but that's okay. at least when you look at the spread when you first get into it, you'll see the vellum hearts on both sides there. Okay. And I'm going to put some more embellishments on there. A little emoji with the tongue sticking out. Because, that's a silly bunch. And then the chipboard heart of the camera. We had one camera on one side and another camera on the other side. So here you go. There's the full layout. So this one took a little bit longer, but I think it pretty well documented our adventures in the city. I'm so happy that you stopped by and checked everything out. I hope you saw some ideas that you can use in your own project life or your own scrapbooking projects. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave you with a little bit of a different selection of music this time. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Happy crafting.